Hey traders from around the world, it's Jeremy Alexander Newsom with Real Life Trading Dadcab. And wow. I think that's what I have to say on this particular wow. So this was a drawing that I actually had a few days ago. And if I'm looking at, I technically drew it on the 26th of February. So my overall thought on this particular market today actually got trailed out of a lot of things. And I am mostly in cash across all my portfolios right now. Not that I'm saying that this is the top of the market and that we're absolutely going to go lower and that we must go down and all the things. What I am saying though is we had a new all-time high on the SPY on March 17th with increased volume. And then the very, very next day we closed below that candle along with this, and this. That was a strong signal. We retested it right here. And then taking out that candle realistically yesterday was my sign to go, all right, this is something's up. And I actually would like an overall pullback in general. Again, we talked about the SPY not getting a big pullback back in here anyway, and that we could go down to 350. That's still very, very possible. We'll find out if that happens, but I do think we're going to have a 10% pullback on the SPY this year, which just has not occurred yet. And I'm going to wait. I'm going to be in some cash, and obviously took a loss on a lot of tech names. So for example, the Qs, right? Strong gap up today, on Monday, a little bit of a bear candle. We just closed below that candle already. So we had some lower highs here, a lower high here. This is an unfilled gap that did not, fill, right? It gapped down. And a lot of tech names are still really struggling. So is this going to be the top of the market for now? I honestly don't know. March has been, at least this March and last March, extremely challenging to trade. And last March, obviously, we went down with a vengeance in tech. And yes, we ended up rallying out of this. But what I was doing the other day was looking at a weekly chart, and that does look high. It really does. And to me, there's obviously a chance that we could come back up into this, into this void. At some point, that'd be obviously a huge, huge correction. I don't know if it's going to get that bad or not, although it could. I'm not saying this is the end of the world by any means. I'm not saying that capitalism is going to die and the market's going to crush and do everything, get out of everything. But I am saying that this is an unfilled gap. This is an unfilled gap. They're both in March. I don't want the market to go down. It doesn't really make much sense realistically. But I did get trailed out of tons and tons and tons of positions today once we took out the low of Monday's candle, because Monday was a really great day in the markets, and then the last 2 days was just a week. So stocks that I got trailed out on, Teladoc, when it took out Monday's candle, I got out on Teladoc for some losses. Again, I still think that TDOC can bounce at some point, but if I go to a weekly chart, it may be that we're going to go all the way down into these long-term averages before we bounce. So maybe 150, 156, something like that. That's a possibility before we start bouncing. I still think Teladoc is a valuable company, but it does appear that after taking out this candle, we can go a little bit lower. Now, again, could I be wrong and we just end up double bottoming? Absolutely. That's extremely likely, very, very possible. But all this bullish volume, right? We closed below it and kind of took out of it today. There was just a lot of warning signals, in my opinion. And, I wanted to get out. Amwell, another one that I took a loss on, American Well. This one just hasn't stopped yet. It did take out its IPO low, its low of 21.73, which is actually what I really, really like when I am doing longer term trading. So I still like this company as a whole. It just does seem that we're going to go a little bit lower. They did really, really good on earnings, and right now it looks like they're going to be trading down a little bit lower after hours. So for me, if I go into the hourly chart on this one, I am extremely confident that the stock will do very well, big picture. But for right now, if we turn on the extended hours, it does look like it's slipping a little bit post-market. And again, we can go a little bit lower on American Well, maybe even down into the low teens, which is when I'll probably have to start redeploying capital. So my main reason for getting out of a lot of positions, the SPY needs a little bit of a bigger pullback. The Qs are just been weak. And even though the Qs are weak and the SPY is kind of strong, certain stocks on the Dow Jones have done extremely well. Home Depot, right, take some HD, actually made an all-time high again today. Had a nice shooting star yesterday. This was a setup that Randall Smith sent me in my text messages yesterday. And so I did look to buy some puts on Home Depot at this previous old resistance, right? New resistance, old resistance becomes old resistance again. It's kind of what it looks like it's going to happen on Home Depot. So got some April 250 puts, cost $3, stop at $1, target $5.90 on those. So again, possible reversal. We will see if anything pulls down lower. Apple, right? I was looking at Apple the other day. It kind of continued to fight its long-term moving averages and just could not really hang on. Zoomed out, big picture over here on the weekly chart, and the weekly again just looks to me like we really could have a little bit more of a pullback. I will laugh if the market just gets an absolutely massive monster bullish candle in the next 3 or 4 days. But if that happens, guess what? You can just get back into some positions. It's not the end of the world, right? Wait for the gaps. Wait for your pricing. Right now, ironically enough, I did not expect this, but I am in a lot of cash, and I'm expecting potentially some warning signals out there that say that we could go a little bit lower. Fastly was another stock that I did not anticipate I would be selling. But not only that, didn't expect it would break down this fast. You had a really good bounce, beautiful hammer back on March 5th. You had a nice little rally up into here, some support held, and then once we broke all that support, exited. Again, another weekly perspective where we are at some support, yes indeed, but we could trade down a little bit lower, maybe even as low as 40, and at that point in time probably would be a buyable event. Again, not saying this is the end of the world, just expecting some more drops to happen. Palantir, again, I've been screaming this one from the rooftops, I think. A lot of people have been buying Palantir, and I can understand why, but everyone and their mom was getting in because of Kathy was getting in. And once we took out these two ginormous bullish volume candles and this hammer back over here on February 25th, once that close happened, all of those bulls are trapped. So it was one that I was in as well. I was taking some positions on it, got out of those positions today, and expecting Palantir to probably go down a little bit lower. Buy into weakness, absolutely. Sell into strength, absolutely. But also at the same instance, when the market is high, and we have been high, and when some selling starts to occur, it's never a bad idea to just protect yourself, lock in gains that you do have, keep your cash around, and play small ball. Be nimble. I don't know exactly how long I will stay here in cash, but I'll be waiting for some lower moves in the market. I'll be waiting for some supports to break down, and I will be trying to get in as low as I possibly can on some names like Tesla. Obviously, this is a buy zone. Again, taking out a massively bullish candle on March 17th. Closing below there, had the gap up on the news of Kathy saying, it's going to hit 3,500 in a course of 4 or 5 years. And again, obviously that can happen, but looking at the chart, it does seem a little weak. Some lower shadows are coming in. The 200 simple moving average on Tesla is still pretty far away, down at 500. I think a lot of people want to buy Tesla at 500. And again, if you're accumulating shares, right, buying a share here and there, owning some, being an owner, not just a consumer, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. But just do so slightly, owning small pieces, being patient. It does look like we're going to get some corrections here over the next few days and weeks as we lead into April. I wanted April to be more bullish, and again, it still might be. However, just be cautious if you don't want to go into cash. If you have a much longer term perspective and a really big time horizon, I'm fine with that. But if you are able to recycle, take the losses, and figure out how you can reposition yourself on certain stocks at certain prices you feel better at and more comfortable at, that's also pretty much what I'm doing. So interesting to see what happens, guys. Just my update. Don't want to scare anyone. Just letting you all know that there's a lot of things out there that, definitely got hit hard. We have a new IPO out there, Napa, NAPA. And this one actually, if we pop in here to an hourly chart, so this one gapped up today, breaking out of a resistance. I got triggered into a swing trade. So it triggered and then literally stopped us out in the exact same day, which again, still shows a lot of weakness. So again, not just on this particular IPO, but just kind of on the market in general. A lot of gap ups, a lot of sell-offs today, expecting some markets to go a little bit lower. Be hedged, be smart. I think there's a lot of year left, allegedly. I think we're only in March. So when April comes, reposition, restructure, figure out what you're going to do, figure out how you're going to do it, come up with a good plan of attack. Be confident and realize that you can do this. It's a long-term game, my friends. If you can make it fast, you can lose it fast. The goal is to make it, keep it, protect it, reposition, and then do it again later. Buy assets when you have the money, repurpose those assets into things in your life that make you money over time, and then grow the heck out of it. And then, of course, give generously and be amazing. That's my stock review for today. Hope it was helpful, folks. I will see you guys all on Friday for a trade review. And until then, love life, live life, and trade it. Bye.